Okay, guys, welcome back to week number 4. We're getting closer and closer to your first test in week 7, so 3 weeks away. Um, and we're starting chapter 2, a pretty easy chapter. Not a lot of math or calculations. It's just a chapter explaining the beauty of the periodic table. I know I'm biased. I'm a bit of a nerd, or I guess you'd call me. Chemistry, I really like some aspects of it. And one of the things I really like, or has always amazed me, is the periodic table. It's a beautiful document. And I mean, it might sound weird calling, something in your chemistry class beautiful, but it really is this beautiful layout. It's the way it's organized, and the information that the periodic table can tell you is incredible. It's really incredible. And we're going to talk about why it's incredible today and tomorrow. And we'll talk about some cool things that you can learn from the periodic table. So today, I'm just going to talk about the structure. Okay, we'll get into metals and non-metals tomorrow. But for today, I just want to talk to you about, how is it laid out? What are groups? What are periods? Things like that. So, what is the periodic table? Now, anybody in this class, there's at least 30 of you, there's almost 30 of you online right now. Anyone who has ever done chemistry has seen this. And if you haven't, I don't know what happened in your chemistry class. Now, this is an old periodic table. I like this picture because it's a simple periodic table. The reason I say it's old is we have now filled out these elements here on the bottom. But that doesn't matter. We're never going to deal with the elements down here in the bottom. They're synthetic, meaning, made in the lab, not first-year chemistry stuff. So what is the periodic table? It's a systematic catalog of the elements. Now, what does this mean? Well, a catalog is basically like your contacts on your cell phone. So we say cell phones in Canada, on your mobile phone or your iPhone or your Android. If you open your contacts app, that is a catalog of all of the people in your phone. It is also systematic. It is usually organized in order of in alphabetical order, last name usually first. So, I don't know how yours is organized, but mine goes by last name in alphabetical order. The periodic table is a catalog of elements. So it's my contact list of elements, but they're organized in order of atomic number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and on. They go in increasing or ascending atomic number. Now, it's not a list like you would expect in your phone. It's laid out looking very weird, right? Look at how there's, 1 here, and then 2 here, but then we go to 3 and 4, we skip a whole bunch, then 5 and 6. There's a reason for that, which I'm going to explain today. Well, I guess I'll explain now. Now, this slide you don't have to study, but it is a good introduction. This guy Mendeleev, Dmitry Mendeleev, if you want to read more about him, it's down there. Dmitry Mendeleev was a Russian? I mean, it sounds Russian. Yeah, he was a Russian chemist, and he lived in the late 1800s and he died around 1907. You don't have to know any of this, don't worry. So his discoveries were in the late 1800s, maybe early 1900s, around the time we were discovering atomic theory. So protons, electrons, neutrons. We were also working on the periodic table. If you're interested, if you have your phones with you, if you type in Dmitry Mendeleev on Google, you get some pictures of him. He literally looks like a mad scientist. He got the big long beard and the long crazy hair. I have a picture of him up on my other screen here, just because I wanted to know when he was born and died. So anyways, you don't need to know about Mendeleev. But this Mendeleev guy, this Russian mad scientist, he noticed that if you ordered the elements by atomic mass, now that's not how it's done now, but this is late 1800s, he saw a repeating pattern of properties. So this leads us to periodic law. Again, not something you need to know, but the law is if you arrange the elements in an order of atomic number, you start to see these repeating chemical or physical properties. And I can explain that here, but let me just check the chat because I just saw something pop up. Okay, yeah, he definitely looks like a crazy mad scientist. All right, so another slide, you're not really expected to know this. I mean, what I mean is I wouldn't ask you this on a test, but it's very good to know. So let's modernize the definition. Let's forget about Mendeleev. He did it by atomic mass. Let's do it at atomic number. If you organize them in order of atomic number, so the number of protons, every once in a while, you might see a pattern repeat. Okay, so, one, look at the purples. So 2, 10, and 18. These elements that are spread about 8 elements apart, right? 2 plus 8 is 10, 10 plus 8 is 18. They are non-reactive gases. So helium, neon, argon, they don't react with anything really, not normally, and they're gases. Okay, what about number 3 here? Lithium, soft reactive metal. It's a metal, so it would be shiny, silver. It's very reactive with water. Sodium, like you guys did in lab number 2. Sodium, also a soft reactive metal, and you saw this in lab 2. Very soft, I could cut it with a butter knife. Reactive, it went crazy when we put it in water, and it's definitely a metal.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, the blue one is liquid, yeah?
Blue doesn't have as much repeating property as you would think. So the blue, okay, I know what you're saying.
I think it's gas, liquid, salt. I think like that.
It is on our periodic table, which I'll show you in a minute. On the college periodic table, anything blue is a liquid, but this is just, don't worry about the blues here. This is just an example I took from a book. So don't worry, the blues here have nothing in common. That's another topic. All right, oh, and the last metal, K. Again, 3 plus 8 is 11. Let me clear my screen here. It's getting messy, isn't it? Don't worry, the colors mean nothing. The colors are just grouping them up. So green, 3 plus 8. Green, 11 plus 8. The other green one, 19. They're all soft reactive metals. So what that meant is when we designed our periodic table, okay, can you guys see this? Oh, sorry guys, my dog, hold on. All right, so guys, this is the college's periodic table. This is the table that you will see on the walls in the lab. If you guys ever sit in a classroom, you'll see this in the classroom in building 5. You probably wouldn't see this in building 9. You might see it in building 20. This is our periodic table. And the reason, sorry, I do that every time. The reason these are lined up above each other are because they have similar properties. Oops. So like group 1 here, these are all reactive metals. Now hydrogen's a bit of a weirdo, but all of these are reactive metals. Group 18 here, these are all unreactive gases. So like they all have very similar properties, and the way that the table lines up is really interesting because it's meant to show you how these properties, or these columns, which we call groups, are similar. So this group, oops, I did it again. This group is nothing like this group. Okay, they're nothing alike. which brings me back to my next slide. Okay, this slide is, this has a lot of information that we will need to know. First of all, groups and periods are really important, but first things first, on your periodic table, we learned this in chapter 1, every element is, separated, it's in a box, and inside that box, there's usually information. At minimum, a good periodic table would have the atomic symbol or the element symbol, the atomic number, and the atomic mass. Remember what I said in chapter 1. This is not the mass number. Mass number is protons and neutrons. Atomic mass, we calculated at the end of chapter 1. So not the same. And we'll talk more about this in chapter 3. We don't really have to worry about mass numbers and atomic numbers for a while. Now, this is very important, the next two. The table is organized in a few ways. First of all, there are 7 numbered periods, which we call rows, or well, sorry, I should say 7 numbered rows, which we call periods. And there are 18 numbered columns, which we call groups. And if you can't remember, I always think of like when I go to a movie, right? Before COVID, I used to go to a lot of movies, and you pick a row, right? You might be in row A, B, C, D. Rows go side to side. Rows go across. When I think of columns, I always think of when I was a kid. I used to be obsessed with like ancient Egypt and ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, you would have the Colosseum with very famous columns that went up and down. So rows go across, columns go up and down. The other thing I'll mention, and then I'll go back to the periodic table to show you, is we also have the chemicals in 2 groups. We have group A and group B. Group A are the main group elements, and I'll show you a quick way to remember this. And then the B are the transition elements, or more specifically, transition metals. So let's go back to my periodic table. Yeah, I got some message in the chat about my dog. I don't know if he's angry. He's very protective. He's very weird. Like he wouldn't hurt or bite anything, but he's protective. He's there's a word for it. I can't remember, but he likes to protect his home. Anyways, let me get back to share my periodic table. Okay, so have a look at this beautiful table here. If you guys want a copy of this, remember, for about a week, they've been outside my office in building 7242A. Now, some of you might not be able to come to campus. This is on your D2L in the content section. So you can look at it and maybe not print it, but you could have a look at it. So, all right, clear, go away, drawings. Okay, your groups.
Sir, where can I find it in the content?
In the content, so click on content. I won't bring up the D2L now. I got too many things open. But if you go to content in D2L, on the sidebar, there are a list of things like course information, lectures, PowerPoints, lab information, and there's one of them that says periodic table and other information. It's in that. So if you go to content and then click periodic table and other information, it's in there. It's, by the way, it's not just the periodic table. You will find it in the data book. So what you want to open on D2L is your data book, and it would be the last page. All right, so go to D2L, click content, and it would be under periodic table and other information. All right, sorry, let me go back here. All right, so we have our groups up top. There are 18 groups. That's it, right? Well, they're columns, so the groups go up and down, up and down. On the left, we have periods. Actually, let me undo that. Let me number them. The periods, I kind of lied in my notes. The periods aren't on the college periodic table, they're not numbered. So this is our first period, our second, our third, our fourth, our fifth, and sixth. And we really won't get into the seventh or anything. Most of the chemicals you need to know, like you might need to know lead or silver or nickel, they are in periods 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe 6. All right, so back to my notes. Oh, no, not back to my notes. The other thing I'll mention about that group A business is group A are these guys, and group B is the middle, the lower section. Now, I have an easy way to, well, maybe not easy, but a way that I memorize this. I like to think of the periodic table like a castle. I think when I was a kid, I was obsessed with a lot of medieval things that were very foreign to me as a Canadian. So like Egypt and the Middle East, the pyramids, castles in medieval, Europe, and then definitely Greece. So I like to think of this like a castle. So what do I mean? Let me go blank slide here. So like if I drew the periodic table with nothing in it, just like the outline of the table, it would look like that. And to me, you watch TV shows that are going around Europe. I mean, there's Middle Eastern castles. I think they look a little different, but you get these towers. The towers are called group A. These are our main group elements. And the little lower part of the castle is group B. And we call that transition. So main and transition. This will become more important in chapter 3. All right, I'm almost done actually. We're gonna do this practice problem. Actually, that's it. We're gonna do this practice problem. And then this slide we did in chapter 1 or unit 1. So I'm actually gonna skip over that slide. And then in tomorrow's class on Monday, we'll start here talking about metals and elements. So this is our last slide for today. So let's do it. I'm gonna do 2 of these, like I'll do 1A and 2A, and then you guys do the rest, and then that's it. So give me a second to set this screen up. It's going to look a little weird, but it will make sense in a second. So just let me set up my screen. It will look weird, but it's all I can do. Okay, so I got that set up, and let me do one more thing. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Watch what I'm going to do now. I'm going to try to do this now. I'm going to share my entire screen, and it's going to look really weird. But can you guys let me know, you can talk into your microphone or in the chat, can you see my PowerPoint and the periodic table side by side?
Yes.
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 All right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, you guys are good. You're the best. You're a lot chattier than my other group, and that's a good thing. Okay, so let's look at these questions and finish up for today. All right, this, by the way, is a multiple choice question you might see on your test. So make sure you're paying attention to this today. All right, bromine, A, 1A, I'm gonna do A. So I'm gonna, if you can't see the full question, it says, identify the group and period of the following elements. All right, so bromine. Someone earlier mentioned about the color blue being a liquid. That's true. On the periodic table, the blue elements are liquids at room temperature, and there's only 2, bromine and mercury. That's for another class. So bromine. what I like to do is I'll make little numbers here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm just going to find the elements. So period 4, group 17. Period 4, that's period, group 17. Right? Easy. So 17 is up top. If you did this on a test, guys, you would put these numbers in yourself on the left. This on the left, I recommend writing on your periodic table in a test. I've always done it when I was a student. All right, cool. So let's look at number 2A. I'll just erase this. Draw. Okay, 2A. This element is in group 5. Okay, so it's down here, and it's in sorry, I'm doing this backwards. Group 5, so 5 up top, group 5, and period 6. All right, if you can't read that, I know it's small. This would be TA. Now, TA is not one of the elements you need to know the name of. The elements you need to know the name of were in that quiz number 2 last week we had a little while ago. This is not.
Mr. Why it's not NB? It's group 5, period 6.
Yep, period 6. See 6 over here?
Yeah.
So that's a good question. And if you're wondering what TA is, it is tantalum. It's named after a Greek villain. So in Greek mythology, they have heroes and villains. Tantalum was a Greek villain, bad guy. Tantalus was his name, but the chemical is tantalum. All right. So I'm going to pop.
So, Mr. The group is the horizontal and the period is the vertical or the opposite?
Groups are vertical. Groups go up and down.
Yeah.
Groups are these guys up top. Groups are columns. Periods are left and right. They're rows. Okay? Make sense?
So if the period is right and left, that's mean it's confused. I got confused, mister.
Okay, so basically rows go left and right. Think of a movie theater when you sit in a row. They go left and right across the theater, right?
Yeah.
Can you mute yourself for 1 second? Just there's a lot of noise in your background. Sorry. So think of the period like the rows in the movie theater. So if I said, your seat in the movie theater was in row 6, you sit down here in row 6, right? In the movie theater, you would be in this row. So think of the periodic table like a movie theater chart, right? I assume some of you go to movies. I hope you do. Movies are amazing. Anyways, so I would say, okay, whoever, you're in group, your seat is in period 6, group 5. That means you would sit in the 6th row, period 6. You're in here somewhere, but your seat is in 5. Okay, and group 5 is column 5, period 6 is in the 6th row. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So guys, I'm going to give you a few minutes, just 2 minutes, because I have another class to get ready for. 2 minutes to try these other questions. I'm seeing the chat going crazy. You can put your answers in the chat. Try to not say it with your microphone. Just put it in the chat, and I'll be back at 3:14 in 2 minutes. Okay, so let's see what we get here. Again, I've read most of the answers. They're most looking perfect. I'm just going to write it down in case, some people didn't get a chance or to do this. So rubidium, let's clear my table a little bit.
Can you do question 2A.
Oh, I'm going to do them. Yes, I can do 2A again. I'll do them. I'll do all of number 2. I'll get rubidium and silver out of the way. So rubidium is right here. So rubidium is in the 5th period and the 1st row. So it will be in period 5 and group 1. Okay, RB. All right, let's see what the other one is. Silver, one of my favorite elements. We use silver a lot in the lab, but not pure silver. Silver in compound form, so like silver chloride and things like that. Silver nitrate, we have lots of that in the lab. So silver, where are you? You're over here. Right here. So silver would be in period 5, group 11. Sorry for my writing there. I'm trying to write on a little tiny box on the screen. So that's silver. And then let's look at A again. Well, let's look at all of question 2. So question 2, group 5, period 6. So group 5, go all the way down, period 6, TA. Okay, that's question A. So TA. B, group 2, period 4, calcium.
So only we follow the table, sir, yeah?
Yeah, of course. Always follow it.
Yeah.
Okay, you wouldn't be able to do this without the periodic table. Or I wouldn't be able to do this. No way. All right, and then clear him. I'll keep that circled though. And then what's our last one? Group 16, all the way over here. I like the groups on the right more than the groups on the left, I think. We'll learn more about that later too. So group 16, go all the way down to period 5, TE. TE is another chemical you do not need to know the name of, but it would be tellurium. And I don't have any fun facts about tellurium, I'm sorry. But there it is. So guys, that's it for today. I have another class, so I can't stick around too long. But if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, I will see you all in class tomorrow. All right.